It all started when I decided to spend a quiet afternoon by my private dock, enjoying the view of the peaceful lake that bordered my property. I'd worked hard to acquire and maintain my home, including the vast stretch of land that ran alongside the water. It was my sanctuary, a place where I could relax without interference. But that peace was about to be shattered. I'd noticed a few people on my dock, laughing and carrying on, completely oblivious to the fact that the dock was on my property. They were guests of HOA Karen, the woman who seemed to think she could rule the neighborhood with her constant complaints and overbearing demands. She'd always made it clear she thought she had a say in how I ran my property, but this time she'd gone too far. When I walked down to the dock, I politely asked her guests to leave. The response was immediate and rude. One of the men said, "You can't kick us off. We're friends of Karen." That was when I realized what was happening. They weren't just visitors, they were trespassing on my private land. I wasn't going to stand for it. I reiterated that they had to leave, making it clear that I was the owner of the property, including the dock and the entire lake. Their attitude shifted, but they begrudgingly packed up and left. However, before I could even return to my cabin, I saw flashing lights in the distance. It was Karen calling the cops, convinced that I had overstepped my bounds. As the officers arrived, I walked out to meet them. Karen was standing there, furious and flanked by a few of her friends, trying to make it seem like I had wronged her. "You can't just kick people off your property like that," she yelled, her voice shrill. But I stood my ground. I calmly explained that the dock, the land, and the entire lake were mine. I had all the documentation to prove it, and it was well within my rights to ask anyone to leave my property, regardless of who they were or who they knew. The officers, after listening to both sides, made it clear that Karen had no case. The law was on my side. Karen, realizing she had no power here, grew quiet. Her guests were now visibly uncomfortable, and the officers made sure to remind her that there would be no further action taken. With that, they left. Karen, defeated, walked off without saying another word. In the end, it was a reminder that no matter how entitled someone may feel, they cannot just trample over the rights of others. I owned the lake, the dock, and my peace of mind, and I wasn't about to let anyone take that away.